Hello and welcome back to World 360. What are the key findings of an audit report that reveals major financial irregularities by the Pakistan Defense Services? Why is Ukraine furious over Putin's visit to Mongolia? And why is Ukraine reshuffling its cabinet amid the war? We answer this and more in today's episode. So first up, Pakistan's audit report for the year 2023 to 24. Earlier this week, Pakistan's Department of Audit General released a damning report where it said the Pakistan Army had made serious financial violations like non-transparent provisions, unauthorized expenditures, losses to the state, and the non-production of records. The audit further called for the Pakistan Defense Services to adopt a transparent accounting model so that there is proper documentation of accounts, recovery of government dues, regularization of irregularities, and adherence to financial discipline. What's also interesting is that the audit report reveals declining levels of compliance by the Pakistani Ministry of Defense from 1985 to 2022. And while the percentage of compliance started off strong at 57% in 1985, it has dwindled over the years. As you can see, the audit report and subsequent compliance directives have not been formally discussed for the last 3 financial years. The audit report also reveals that the Pakistan Army has committed procurement-related irregularities to the tune of 2.84 billion Pakistani rupees and irregular expenditure in violation of certain rules to the tune of 2.4 billion Pakistani rupees. The report also indicates that some procurements, purchases, and contracts made by the Pakistan Army for certain projects were done on the basis of quote-unquote favoritism, as opposed to following the competitive process for bidding. For our second topic, we're looking at why Ukraine is furious over Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to Mongolia this week. Mongolia is located in East Asia, and relations between Mongolia and Russia have been traditionally strong since the communist era when the Soviet Union supported the Mongolian People's Republic. This week, Putin visited the country and held talks with its president, Kurulsek. Putin was welcomed in Mongolia with great pomp and show, including a red carpet welcome. He participated in celebrations for the 100th anniversary of bilateral ties between Mongolia and Russia. While speaking to the media, the Mongolian president said, "I am pleased to note that the traditionally friendly relations and cooperation between the peoples of our two countries as eternal neighbors have become stronger over time and have been given new substance. Today, they have reached the level of a comprehensive strategic partnership." The two leaders also signed a key agreement on cooperation in the supply of oil and oil products. Now, why is Ukraine upset over this visit? Mainly because Mongolia failed to adhere to an arrest warrant against Putin issued by the International Criminal Court, or the ICC. Now, Mongolia is a signatory to the Rome Statute, which is a key treaty that established the International Criminal Court. This statute was adopted at a diplomatic conference in Rome in July 1998 and entered into force in July 2002. About 124 countries are signatories to the Rome Statute, which means under international law, they are obliged to enforce the judgments issued by the court, including arrest warrants. Countries like India, however, are not signatories and therefore do not have to adhere to the ICC's decisions. Now, in 2002, Mongolia officially ratified its joining of the Rome Statute. Before Putin's visit to the Asian country this week, 6 Ukrainian lawmakers had requested that Mongolia enforce the ICC's arrest warrant against Putin. And after the visit was concluded and this didn't happen, Ukraine sharply criticized the Asian country for failing to do so and said it must face consequences. A spokesperson for the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry called Mongolia's decision not to arrest Putin a heavy blow to the international criminal justice system. We saw something similar happen last May when Putin was meant to visit South Africa for the BRICS summit. South Africa, like Mongolia, is a signatory to the Rome Statute. Days before Putin was set to arrive for the summit, the South African government came under major pressure to arrest Putin should he set foot on its soil. South Africa was defiant, however, and granted diplomatic immunity to Russian officials attending the summit. It also mulled over changing its own laws. But in the end, Putin attended the BRICS summit virtually. His foreign minister Sergei Lavrov, however, was present in South Africa for the summit. For our last topic, we're looking at why Ukraine is reshuffling its cabinet and its government at large amid the war with Russia. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba has also tendered his resignation ahead of the government shakeup. On Thursday morning, he held a telephonic call with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, where the latter thanked him for his leadership of Ukraine's foreign policy thus far. On Wednesday, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky implied a government shakeup was soon to happen. He said, "We need new energy, and these steps relate to strengthening our state in various areas." Apart from Kuleba resigning, a total of 6 ministers in the Ukraine cabinet have stepped down, including 2 deputy prime ministers and 3 ministers. This appears to be one of the biggest government reshuffles in Ukraine since the war broke out with Russia, and the ministers who resigned held important portfolios. For example, one deputy prime minister was in charge of European integration. Another minister was in charge of strategic industries, which was overseeing Ukraine's arms production. And this impending government reshuffle comes ahead of the number of military reshuffles that we've seen in Ukraine and its army over the last 2 years. Zelensky is likely to make the current Deputy Foreign Minister, Andriy Sybiha, the new foreign minister. He will likely replace Kuleba, who has been one of the main faces of Ukraine's efforts to shore up international support since the Russian invasion in February 2022. Sybiha will probably take on the heavy task of strengthening Ukraine's ties with NATO as Kiev seeks to join the bloc. So why this government shakeup now? On the battlefield, we've seen Ukraine make considerable gains in Russia's Kursk, which hosts a nuclear power plant, but analysts say diversion of troops towards that area has left parts of Donetsk vulnerable. There are also fears that Russia is close to capturing Pokrovsk. As Michael Kaufman and Rob Lee point out in a piece for Foreign Affairs, Russia retains an advantage in manpower, equipment, and ammunition. And therefore, these next few months are critical for Ukraine, not just on the battlefield, but also for shoring up more support from the West. More so, questions are emerging on what will happen should Donald Trump return as US president after the American elections in November. What this would mean for a peace plan is also unclear. This month, Zelensky is expected to travel to the US, its main ally, where he plans to present a victory plan to US President Joe Biden. Reports indicate that he will share this plan with both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump as well. Thanks for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint.